Hello shape enthusiasts, and welcome back to what may be the last episode of our insane factory series. With our final task shape currently in production, we're just waiting for this to finish, then we can complete off this locked task, which we did sort of out of order. And now we're working on this lovely good luck on this one task. Now this one looks very, very interesting. One, because it has a crystal overhang over here on the 5th level, and we've worked with crystal overhangs, but with all the other crystal overhangs we work with, for example these ones, underneath the crystal is always a flat shape. Having a pure crystal overhang with nothing on it, you can imagine poses certain challenges, most of which being, if you place something shatterable on this layer, which is a crystal, and it's touching this crystal, when you go to shatter it, it's going to shatter the crystal you want. So what you need to do is put the shape that's underneath the gap, touching the crystal, and put the shatterable layer underneath such that when you shatter it, this bit actually falls down into place. So we're going to go ahead and make that shape. So it's going to be a crystal, it's going to be a green, and then it's going to be a shatterable crystal, then a green, and then a purple crystal on top, or magenta crystal. This side is almost exactly the same, but not quite. This side is just 2 bits of crystal, which is fine, I guess. But you can tell the only thing holding it up is this side. So we're going to have to make this and this first. This side has its own challenges because it's a pinned up crystal, which is fine, I guess. So let's go ahead and make this shape first. And the only shapes on this entire thing are circles. So we're just going to go make quarter circles. Quarter green circles, I guess. We're gonna need 5 of them. So let's go find somewhere and let's just paint some quarter green circles. Probably staging 4 is best because it's got all the right mold shapes and we're gonna need a lot of those. So let's just delete everything from staging 4 throughout all this crap. And then I've already got quarter circles coming through over here. I don't need quarter squares anymore, so we can delete this belt. And I might just replace that with a full circle belt. I know we don't need full circles for very much. Pretty much just this yellow quarter circle. But it's okay. We can just have it. Kind of want to paint this green before it goes though. So we'll drop a painter over here. We'll bring our green paint. And just go up and over, it doesn't really matter. That'll become green. Just gonna put a bin on the other side, or just gonna clear this. Now our circle should be painted green before it gets cut into quarters, and we should have all the quarter green circles that we need for our little project. So the bottom layer is just a white crystal mold. So we're focusing on the bottom left first. So let's start with our white mold. We're gonna need 6 belts of white, but we'll just make the white as we need it. They said it's only white and we're gonna need like 6 belts of magenta. Should we just mix all our colors while we're here? If you're enjoying the video and you want to support DataEngineerPlays, don't forget to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any feedback or suggestions, feel free to share them in the comment section. And then it's the green that we need. So if I make something like this, with a little bit of white and then extra magenta and then another magenta, isn't that all the colors we need? No, it's not. I feel like we don't have enough colors. That makes 6 belts of white and then some extra 1 belt of magenta, but that's not going to be useful, so we're still going to need to make this much magenta. We'll make the magenta on the fly. This is all our white, so I'm going to just bring my white as a belt. And we can use that up as we go. So we'll start our factory from over here. Oh look, everything is done. Let's unlock all that and that, clear our tasks, focus all up on this task. So the first level is just a white crystal shape. So we're just going to grab a mold and then crystal that white. So we're starting with a crystal maker, which we've rarely ever done. grab one of our mold shapes and let's get to work. So that'll get our white crystal layer. On top of the white crystal layer, we need one green circle. So let's get that going next. So we'll grab a stacker. That's going to be on the bottom. Anything with a crystal always has to be on the bottom. And then the green circle bit has to be on top. Now, deceptively, you might think we need another green circle on top of that. But as I discussed, the green circle needs to be on the fourth layer underneath the crystal to prevent that crystal from shattering when we shatter it. So we're going to go ahead and make that. And the shatterable part of the crystal needs to go this way. So if I'm making it there, then the shatterable part of the crystal needs to be on the left side of the shape. So let me get the required mold for that, which is going to be another mold. Why am I taking my mold from the second build? That's just confusing. Let's do that. I'm going to bring down the mold. Then we need to make it into a half mold. So we're going to have to rotate this 180. Then we're going to half destroy that. Then we're going to rotate it, and where did I say I needed my mold shape? So we're making it in the top right corner. We need our shatterable bit here because our scaffold needs to sit here. Wait, let me think about that for a second. Yeah, we need to put the scaffold on first. The scaffold needs to be here, so the shatterable bit needs to be here across that way. That makes sense. So the mold needs to be on the bottom half. So it's a clockwise rotation. I think. I don't know. We'll have to adjust this mold as we go. So now that we've got the mold on there, that needs to be on the bottom. The mold needs to be on top. Then we can go from here. We need to crystal make that using a color that we're not using. We're using a lot of magenta, which is red and blue. So I guess the shatterable part of the crystal is going to have to be green. Then again, we're using a lot of green. No, we're not using a lot of green. We got a little bit of green. It's not going to be enough color for this shape, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, cool. So let's see what we're producing now. So we've got our white crystal and our green thing. Okay, so the mold needs to be molded before we go here. So let's add another mold on top. I'm just going to do it this way because we don't need to copy and paste any of this stuff. Well, that's just annoying. Alright, let's just take this all out one tile. Haven't even started, already making mistakes. That way we can go in like that. Then we'll bring this across. And that should be it. Alright, with this part fixed up, let's see what we're now getting out of our crystal bit. Nothing, apparently. It's coming through now. So we're going to have a half green crystal across here, on top of which we then need to stack another green one of these. So, just trying to find the best path for it. Let's just do it next to it, why not? So grab a stacker, bring the output into here, and then stack on top another green bit. And that'll get our other green bit. And then we need 2 of these molds. Can we do it like this? Is that a thing? Yes, we're taxing this scaffold belt a little bit too hard, but that's fine. Something like that. And in theory, what comes out of here should be able to be turned into a crystal. So something like this. And the final crystal on top is magenta. So we're going to make our first magenta. Red and blue makes magenta. Bring the magenta around and down and up to make the crystal. I'm gonna tack a bit onto this to let it run, and let's just see what we're getting. So into this final stacker, we should have this molded shape with the green and the crystal on top. This green crystal we're shattering, and then in theory this should be another mold, and then we're going to put the magenta crystal on top. That should get us the layer that we want, but obviously that layer by itself isn't going to hold itself up, but luckily the shape that we're given has given us this lovely quarter bit to hold it up. Now to deal with the pin on the bottom, it means the final shape needs to be pin pushed, so we're going for a 4-layer shape, the bottom layer of which needs to be a green crystal. So let's go ahead and start on that. So once again we're starting with a crystal maker, and we're going to use our second belt of scaffolding. Then we're going to put a green crystal on it, something like that, and that should get us our crystal bit. Then on top of the crystal bit is a yellow circle pinned up. So let's make ourselves a quarter yellow circle. Quarter destroyer with a painter, and we're also going to need yellow out of all colors. So we're going to make red, and we're going to make green. Then we're going to bring that across, and we're going to paint that yellow. Now we should have a yellow circle in the bottom right. Let's just counterclockwise rotate that to get into the top right, because that's where all our shapes are coming in and where all our scaffolding is coming in. Not that this thing needs any more scaffolding, but what it does need is pin pushing. So we're going to pin push that twice. Now we're going to bring this in, and with this thing brought in, we should be able to stack it like this, and then if we just pin push it one more time, we should get the quarter bit that we need. And now this thing should be coming out with the shape that we want, and we can cut away the bits that we don't want, which is the left half. So we're just going to give that a half destroy. Then we're going to get this shape cut into just the bit that we want, which is the top right. So it should be a quarter destroy. Then we just have to piece these two together. So I'm going to let that run for a little bit, and then we're going to see if we get the shape that we want, and then we should just be able to swap it together, and it should hold itself up and shatter and drop the bit that we don't want. With the shapes about to come through, I'm going to drop my swapper over here, just so I can bring this shape over to this side, because as we can see, this half shape is exactly what we want. We've got a gap in the middle. This green is out of place. It should be under here, but because it's being held up by this thing over here on the 4th layer, it's not falling yet. But once we cut that away, it should fall. But before we can cut that away, we need to have something holding up the 5th layer, which is going to be this shape. So it's coming through now. So you can see there's something on the 5th layer to hold it. It's on the right, bottom right, and this thing's on the right. So if this thing is on the bottom right, that thing needs to be above it. To merge them together, we need... Okay, this part needs to be on the bottom. If that one's on the top right, like that... No, that doesn't work. We need to rotate these into place. So let's just put one on the top left and one on the top right. So I'm going to move... Hold on. I'm going to move this down one. So we're going to put that one on the top left. That's a counterclockwise rotation. Wait, we need to put it on the bottom right. Let's give it a 180 rotation. So then it's going to be like this. And then this has to be on the bottom right, which it is. Why am I doing it this way then? Fix that up. Theoretically, that should be correct now. Let's watch it. This is our last shape, so we can just take it slow. So this is on the bottom left now. and this is on the bottom right. So in theory, they should just stack together. Wait, no, then the shape will be flipped. Does it matter? It should be the other way around. Wait, I'm so confused. Why can't I get this shape into position? Have I got my scaffold in the wrong spot? Oh god, I've got my scaffold in the wrong spot, haven't I? I'm making the flipped version of this shape. No! The scaffold should be here, and that should be there. My bad. Alright. Time to fix this. I knew I would do. I always do this wrong. Like, I visualize this in the wrong way. Because at the moment, my scaffold bit is in where I need my actual piece. No? Wait, I'm confused. Hold on. Yes. See how my scaffold that's holding it up is in place of where the piece that should be holding it up is, whereas it should be the other way around. That's fine. That's an easy fix. It's simply a matter of rotating this. So where I've put this on the bottom before, it needs to be on the top. I have to visualize it from where this crystal is versus where I want it to be. So at the moment, the crystal is like that. I need the crystal like that. So the scaffold needs to be on this side, on the left, which is what I originally said and then didn't stick with. Scaffold needs to be on the left, which is a 180-degree rotation backwards, and that should solve everything. I'm gonna chuck a bin somewhere. Oh, there's already a bin. We'll let that all drain out and fix itself. What will change is this process over here. So now that it's coming out like that, to cut it, we need to rotate it clockwise 90 and then half destroy. Great, that should get us the correct shape. We'll let that run for a bit and we can work on the other half of the shape to see if there's any other little tricky bits that come out. This one is just a 4-piece scaffold, so I can get a triple scaffold. Single scaffold, crystal white, double, and then a triple scaffold, and then crystal magenta. This one is just a double scaffold. All right, these two bits are very, very easy. So let's just grab a scaffold. And let's crystal that white. If I don't make any mistakes, this episode's going to end very quickly. But I will make mistakes, so you guys get to enjoy it for a little bit longer. Then I just need a triple scaffold. So maybe I'll put my scaffold on this side. Like that. Now we can go up like this. Bring this scaffold belt out. Bring it out like that. Then I need 3 stackers. Like this. And then like this. So this will get me all the scaffolding after the crystal layout. And then we can drop 2 circle bits on it. So I grab another stacker. We can do that. And that. There you go. There's the 2 circle bits I need on it. With the circle bits on top, we can just merge it onto this. Like that. And then we should just be able to put it through a crystal maker and make magenta again. Bring that across and up, and there's your magenta. Quarter destroy the output, bin it for now. Let's see if this is now making the bit that I want. So with this bit rotated, the scaffold that comes out, the crystal part is now going this way, which is what we want. Nothing else should theoretically change. So what's coming out of here is the green bit is on top. Fantastic. And then it goes through another scaffold, and then we should get the magenta bit on top. Let's see if that's what we're getting. Yet. Probably still slow. Nah, this is still the old shape. So we're still waiting. That's fine. See how this is going? So I got the white crystal and 2 levels of scaffold. Do I need another level of scaffold out here? 3 levels of scaffold. Then we've got the double green over here. Yep. And over here, that should stack on top. And that'll get us that part. And now we just need to make the final quarter, which is just literally a white crystal and a magenta crystal. So we can simply just get a scaffold. And then we bring our last mold shape. This one doesn't... it's using the 3rd belt of mold shape. So this one needs to use the 4th belt. So we'll bring that up. And then bring that across. And that will give us 2 scaffolds. Oh, but we can't do that, sorry. We need to bring a scaffold into a crystal maker because we've got a crystal 1 layer at a time. So we need to make white. Then we need to stack on another scaffold like this. And then we need to put that through another crystal maker. And that needs to be magenta. So we'll get blue, we'll get red, and we'll get magenta going. And that should be the good luck on this one shape. Pretty much done. We need to, of course, cut away the bits that we don't need. Let's see what's being produced over here. That indeed looks like the bit of the shape that we want. Hopefully that'll be the other bit of the shape that we want. Now, what's coming out of here? Let's have a look. After the magenta crystal making, this is still the old shape. What? It's taking so long. This is the shape that we want to put the magenta crystal on top. Is there something wrong with it? No, it's got space for the magenta crystal. It's just taking its sweet time. This is the new shape coming out now, I think. See some of it. Now the crystal's in the right spot. We're going to clockwise rotate that and then shatter away the bit we don't want. Alright, let that run for a bit now. And if we have a look over here on this platform, after adding the rotation and the half destroy, we are getting this shape, rotating it into the right way so we can shatter away the bit we don't want. And finally over here, we are getting the shape that we do want on the bottom right with the gap. And it's being held up by the scaffold over here. So now we can position this. So I've shifted everything down a little bit, put this side on the bottom right, and we can see when they finally do merge, we get the bit that we do want held up by the bit of the shape that we do want, giving us the full shape or the full half shape that we're interested in. Now, we have to shatter away the final bit of the scaffold, and then the actual shape that we do want will hold it up. So once we shatter away this part by rotating it, and then half destroying it, we can see it's gonna fall, basically. That little green bit, the gap was on the 3rd level, and now because nothing's holding it up anymore, it's gonna fall down. And that's how you get a crystal overhang on top of nothing. You have to put it on a shape first and let the shape fall. But that's pretty much it. So that's half the shape that we want. Let's go figure out the other half shape, and then all we have to do is merge the two together. So here's the other half of a shape that we want. Let's check what's happening. So indeed, we confirmed this was correct before. This side is pretty straightforward. It's just 2 crystal bits. We just need to shatter away the bit that we don't want, which is already happening. It's on the bottom right. So if that's on the bottom right, we need to merge it with this. So we need to put this on the bottom left and put the other one on the bottom right. The other one is indeed on the bottom right. So let's just rotate this clockwise. Then we just need a swapper. And that should get us the shape that we want. And we bring this to some sort of halfway point. Grab another swapper. One of these will need to rotate. That's on the right side. I mean, technically that should just be on the left side. So let's give that one a 180. And let's see what's coming out of here. So it's on the bottom. we pretty much want it there, right? So let's give that a counterclockwise. And here it comes, our very final shape. And that is looking awfully like what we want to produce. There it is. We've got the little magenta crystal overhang touching the yellow. Which is pretty much what we have here. Then we have a magenta layer, diagonal green layer. We've got the magenta crystal there on top of a diagonal green layer. Then we've got another diagonal green layer, and then alternating green and magenta crystals. Which is exactly what we have here, followed by a 3/4 white layer. So complex looking shape, but once again, our techniques that let us do things from quarters handles it without any issue, and we're just following the same technique that we're using to do milestone number 8 to make this shape. So it wasn't too hard. I mean, they make it sound really hard, but I guess, you know, the shapes are only going to get so hard. Once you've learnt all the different techniques, it's basically just following the same pattern. Here's the final factory. This is what it looks like. It wasn't even that big or complicated. I mean, it used up a lot of color and it's probably not producing at maximum speed, but that's all fine as long as it's producing. So we're just going to wait and verify that this 50K gets finished, and I will be back when that's all done. And that's it. With 50,000 of this shape finally delivered, we have completed the very last task. Good luck on this one, number 33, bringing us to an official close to this series with all 8 milestones complete, as well as all 33 tasks complete. So insane mode wasn't too hard. It was very fun though. Hope you guys have played along and enjoyed the series. For those of you who have stuck around for the entire series, we can try to figure out what series we want to do next. Maybe some more shapes content, maybe we'll do a man, but in the meantime, I encourage everyone to put some shape codes in the comments section that you want me to try and make. Maybe something even more tricky than the hardest shape in insane mode, and I will try to make it. I think that will be fun. Let me know if you guys think that's a good idea by dropping some shape codes in the comment section. If you enjoyed the series, don't forget to leave a like and sub, and I will see you all in the next series. Thanks for watching.